Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Good Night Qatar. It is Oliver Platt, Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson, and myself, Adam Jenkins, and we today are previewing the World Cup Finals final. That's it, the big game. It will be Argentina, it will be France, it will be Lionel Messi versus Kylian Mbappe, and all the easy stories, but we'll dig into some of the others as well. I've already mentioned it, though. Messi, Mbappe, it's what everyone wants to talk about, whether you are a die-hard football supporter or you're just tuning in casually. This is the storyline that comes to mind first and foremost. The heir apparent. Let's focus on Lionel Messi and what is at stake for the man playing in his final World Cup match. That's bizarre to say. You think about this, though, Ollie. Maybe. Yeah, you never know. Maybe we'll see him back in 2026. He has a resurgent MLS career, but that's for another show. I want to talk about now, Ollie, and you think for many people, the greatest player of all time, leads his country to a World Cup victory. They get that third star on their shirt. Golden boot, golden ball, all at the age of 35. Tell me why, Ollie. Tell me why, Ollie, that wouldn't be the greatest World Cup story ever.
I can't tell you why. I think it would be, or at least certainly comparable to the two that come to mind, right? Which is Maradona 86 and Pele in 70. I think this is one of the greatest individual performances at a World Cup we've ever seen. And if you can cap it off with the trophy, with the individual accolades that come with it, with the whole story of Messi at age 35 finally getting his hands on this trophy, I think it will go down as one of the great World Cup stories. If there's anything that taints it, if there's anything that brings that into question, if I'm forced to make the case, I think it's probably this World Cup, right? Like, I don't think we're going to be talking about Qatar 2022 in the same kind of nostalgic terms as Mexico 86 20 years from now. And we all know the reasons for that. But purely focusing on the football, focusing on Messi's performances, focusing on what Argentina have been at this World Cup, the way the team has grown, the way the fans, I think, have been one of the stories of the World Cup and really given this World Cup some color. You know, the mythology around this team and that number 10 jersey and Messi's whole career, I think it goes right into the history books as one of the great World Cup stories.
First off, Oliver Platt missed one of the great opportunities to sing on this program because Adam says, "Tell me why." And you
thought about that for
because I want it that way. That's what you should have come away.
Yes, he does. Let's go.
That's why we should go to you.
Because the footballing world is willing this Lionel Messi winning a World Cup in his final World Cup narrative, throughout for obvious reasons. He's beloved. The way that he plays, the spirit that he plays with, completing his career and doing something that Diego Maradona did, because there will always be those comparisons within Argentina. The fact that Ronaldo hasn't exactly his behavior over the last his career. Look, he's 2 years older than Lionel Messi. We'll see where Messi is when he's 37. But the Piers Morgan interview, working his way out of Manchester, it just hasn't been a great look for Ronaldo. So Messi's won over favor of so many people, and they just want to see this happen. At the same time, for all that Messi's brought to the table, I think Kylian Mbappe might be being overlooked a little bit in that shadow that Messi's casting right now, because Mbappe, for me, has been every bit as good in this tournament as Lionel Messi. 3 of Messi's goals have been scored on penalties. Of course, he's had some iconic moments this World Cup, but Mbappe at his best is absolutely unplayable. And he's an absolute X factor in this game as well. So the Messi storyline is the popular one, but we may end up having Mbappe back-to-back world champion as the talking point coming out of the final.
Jordan.
The Messi storyline would be one of the greatest. The stage is set for him, and it almost looks, dare I say, like too good to be true. He's so beloved. Everyone's putting pressure and so much energy into this because Messi's story with Argentina wasn't that he was always beloved. Right. If we're going back, there is some history, but now Argentina, everyone can stand behind him, and everyone's saying, he's the guy to do it. He's the guy that definitely no one can question has brought Argentina to this point. The stage is set for him. It would be a great story at his age, the way that he's played during this World Cup. I haven't seen a story like it. A guy to just rally and be the catalyst for a team to be successful. But I gotta agree with my boy Wheels, man. This France team, and with Mbappe leading the charge, he has a good day. He's setting himself up to be a GOAT and have that basically be the reason because of this World Cup.
Garrett, there's a 99% chance at this point no one will hear this because we've been copyright striked for the Backstreet Boys. But if we haven't been, let's talk about the next best storyline. If it isn't Messi, you've mentioned Mbappe. He would become the second youngest player in World Cup history to ever win two, other than, Pele, who did it twice by the age of 22. Mbappe would do it at 23. Is he the best non-Messi storyline in this tournament?
Well, he's part of that story. But by the way, he can go on and win the Golden Boot with a special performance as well in this game. I still kind of find it ridiculous that the Golden Boot, the first tiebreaker is assists. Why is it assists? It should just be goals per minute.
Nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with scoring. Anyways, I think it's just. This era of French football is one of pure dominance. Like the only thing that seemingly can stop them is them getting in their own way. Like the Benzema Deschamps, feud or spat right now is hilarious. The fact that this team is without top players and they're still going on through this tournament, replacing them with like 50, 60, $70 million players. And the fact that there's so much talent in this pipeline, they can go on and win back-to-back World Cups the first time since the 50s and the 60s. And Brazil, like this is something that just doesn't happen in world football. And seemingly young players are being churned out just like that, just incredible young players where this team can go on a run over the future years. Like, Jordan, we were saying this before this tournament. We weren't sure what this French team was going to be all about, but Griezmann playing in midfield, finding Olivier Giroud, finding the fountain of youth out of this tournament, the pace on the flanks with Mbappe and Dembele, seemingly three center backs that they can play at any time that can do the job. Theo Hernandez coming in for Pavard, a completely different midfield. Tchouameni has been unbelievable in this tournament. It's just the pipeline is there, and French football is on top of the world right now. That has to be the secondary story here.
Ollie, just to reset this quickly, what I think when I think about the final, and maybe it's a bit odd, one of the reasons why France might be the underdog in this game is I think we'd all expect them to be back in 4 years. Argentina, maybe not so much.
Well, yeah, there's certainly some truth to that in terms of France's strength and the player pool they have. But I think also we need to remember when we talk about them potentially winning back-to-back World Cups, which is an incredible achievement in itself, you have to remember the circumstances that they're doing it in and the conversations we were having before this tournament as well. One thing we were talking about was that recent winners of the World Cup have an absolutely terrible records. Like they don't just go back to back and win it. They don't even get through the group, right? When you look at some of the recent champions of this competition and how they fared next time, France have shed that. You look at the injuries that they've dealt with, before this tournament and then during it as well. No Pogba, no Kante, Benzema, Kimpembe, and Kunku got ruled out just before the tournament. Lucas Hernandez goes down in the first game. Then they have the virus going through the squad. So, Rabiot misses time, Upamecano. Now there's a couple of players, potentially doubts for this final. Like it's not exactly been plain sailing. So that for me, I think is the biggest non-Messi storyline to answer the question is France potentially going back to back, but also the way they've done it. And it's I mentioned in the last show, it's a bit Real Madrid-esque where I think Argentina in the knockout stage have looked more impressive. But can you bet against France? Do you believe that they're finally going to come unstuck, even though the performances aren't necessarily all that convincing? They always seem to find a way to win.
Jordan, in the suave spring salmon hoodie, I'm going to come to you for some tactical instruction. How do you expect this game to play out from the X's and O's point of view?
See, I always spring salmon. I'm like, I put this on. I'm like, is this really spring salmon? But thank you for that, Jenkins. I was like, I didn't know the color, but now I could say I thought it was mauve. But hey, I know nothing. Tactically, I'm very excited for this game. I learned a lot from Wheels talking about Argentina, and when I would hear you talk, Wheels, I'd look at how they play, and I was like, you're spot on with many things. The first thing I will say is that Argentina down the flanks have gotten better, but I wouldn't say that they are a powerhouse. Now, France, contrary, are dangerous going forward. I think to break down this game simply is going to be obviously who takes care of moments, which you talk about, that needs to be there. But if you've seen Argentina in their last match especially counter so well, or not even counter, but just break fast, get down into the other team's box within 7, 8, 9 seconds. They were no nonsense and they were direct. I think it's who's better and who's direct on the day, because both of these squads, Argentina and France, can both go forward so quickly and be dangerous and get into the box. That wasn't the case for Argentina at the start of the tournament, but that is the case now. Like they are finding ways to get everyone contributing. So I think it's who just takes the right punches at the right times and who goes forward. And if Argentina can cause France to make it a midfield battle as opposed to winger against fullback, it's a better game for Argentina. But if France can exploit, get numbers in the box, have Giroud just with his presence, dealing with Argentina center backs, that could be an X factor for them as well.
Wheels.
Unmute.
Wheels is muted. Otherwise, we'd be getting some world-class.
Really interesting game because both teams have a superstar player who's a passenger at times that you need to take into consideration in Mbappe and Messi, right? I think Scaloni's done a brilliant job. They played a diamond in the midfield. They played a 4-3-3. They played 5 at the back. If I'm Scaloni in this game, I'd go back to my 3 center backs and play 5 at the back and let Molina, who's been great, get up and down that right flank. Di Maria is not fully fit. You don't have to load the midfield against France because they have kind of 2 holding midfielders in Rabiot and Tchouameni and then Griezmann in front. They loaded the midfield against Croatia and it worked. I think this time he needs to protect against the front 4 of France. So I can see them playing 5 at the back. And in that formation, you can give Messi a little bit of freedom. He loves to kind of play off on the right-hand side, take advantage of probably the weakness in this French team. It's defensively, it's Theo Hernandez. That could be a really good matchup for Lionel Messi. Scaloni has pulled all the right strings. I think they learned something from France-Morocco. That game was a battle. It was like a scrap at times. I don't think France wants to play that way. And there's enough butchers in this Argentina side to make things very uncomfortable. They're going to be backed by a boisterous crowd. Look for cautions to be flying around, tackles to be flying around in this game. I think that if Argentina makes this a little bit of a street fight, I think they come out on top.
Ollie, you've outlined one of the reasons or some of the reasons why this run from France has been so impressive as the holders. But if they do go on and win, how would this change the way you think about them? With all the underlying stories of right now, the virus going through the team, the Benzema, Deschamps drama, the injuries that they have, some of the players that aren't available. If they do repeat, does this change the way you view them as a footballing nation? Does it put them in that top echelon of world footballing nations?
Yeah, I think it has to. And it's interesting, right? Because I think if you look over the last 25 years of international football, you have to say that France have been the dominant team. And that's not something that has been, the case through history. But before the 98 World Cup final, they'd only made 1 final of a World Cup or European Championship. So as much as we associate, some great players down the years with France, they haven't necessarily had the success until pretty recently. So I think making 4 World Cup finals since 98, 2 European Championship finals, I think they're already the dominant team of the last 25 years of this era. But at the same time, the kind of caveat to that is when people think back over this era, do they think of France or do they think of Spain? Right, that's kind of the question that you talk about, just because of the way that Spanish team kind of changed football. I think in conjunction with Guardiola and Barcelona, but purely from a success point of view, they for me have been the powerhouse, the dominant team of this quarter century, and that puts them among the top nations in history, I think.
Win, lose, I'd say win, lose, or draw, but we know there won't be a draw. Win or lose for Argentina, though, we know there will be storylines aplenty to break down on our recap show for Good Night Qatar. But we have to see how the match plays out first to be able to find those storylines. 11:30 a.m. in Gander, Newfoundland, or we can go 7 a.m. in Comox, British Columbia. That is the time. Argentina and France.
Brian Williams is hosting the show.
Thank you. That's the best compliment I've ever received in my entire life. We'll take a break on that, and I'm just going to flex for a little bit. When we do come back, though, the boys have submitted their teams of the tournament. The big reveal is next. Welcome back to Goodnight Qatar. It is time for the lads to reveal their teams of the tournament. We will break down who has it best, who would win with that team, and all of that. But we will begin with the man who I am going to rename Olivier Giroud-Plat if France wins this tournament. Oliver, you are up first. Go through your team, please.
Olivier.
Put the Giroud in there. That's a little bit obvious.
Aggressive, yeah.
Here's my team of the tournament. We're going in a diamond formation. I've got Livakovic in goal. Magnificent against Brazil. He edges. I wanted to put Szczesny in because I thought he was brilliant, but in the end, Livakovic goes deeper. Hakimi at right back, easily the outstanding fullback in the tournament. Varane and Otamendi, I felt bad leaving Gvardiol out because he had a great tournament. I just like these. I love these older central defenders, man. Like, the ball doesn't come near them. They're always in position, always making the right decision. Left back, I've cheated. I don't think there was an outstanding left back in the competition, so I've gone with Nathan Ake, who played on the left of a back three, but did slide out to left back in a four a little bit for the Netherlands. I thought he was their best player.
It's a stretch.
Reaching with short arms there. Wow.
It's an outstanding individual performance over a positional fit. We'll call it that. Midfield, this was pretty easy for me. Modric, great. Amrabat, the best defensive midfielder, along with Casemiro. Amrabat goes a bit deeper in the end, so he gets the nods. Enzo Fernandez totally transformed Argentina. They had a big hole with Lo Celso injured that he's filled brilliantly and will surely get a big move off the back of this tournament. Griezmann, for me, has been as good as anyone. Like, we've just spent the whole first block talking about Messi and Mbappe. I think you could give Griezmann the golden ball and it would be totally deserved. He probably won't get it because of the two guys up front who are obviously the big names and the big superstars and have been magnificent for their teams and are deservedly in my team as well. So there you go.
It's a good start.
Good
We
team,
see a theme
Olivier.
with the diamond. I will add, it's a shame that One Soccer doesn't have a store because I get shirts that said, I love older central defenders with Oliver Platt's face right beside it. Speaking of older central defenders, Jordan, team of the tournament?
Perfect segue.
More of a
Jack.
center
Man, you're
midfield.
talented. I hear
Center
you.
midfielder.
Wheels knows what it is. Straight bully ball in there. All right. Martinez, strictly because personally I need a shot stopper if I'm building my team, and he's just been marvelous. And this game could potentially go into pens tomorrow, and I know that he would step up, and he just stepped up for Argentina throughout the tournament. Now, the back line, I'd say Hernandez, it's hard to even call him a weaker link, but he makes it just off of the fact that I think he's been the best out of the bunch in a left back position. Gvardiol, what a young center back with a bright future. He's been outstanding this tournament. Thiago Silva gets a mention for me because I've just loved him for the past 15 years. But if you really take in his game, he doesn't make many mistakes or any. And he's just a great ball playing center back, plays the ball forward. And for a man who's 38, got to respect the wheels that he still has and the way that he conducts his back line. Hakimi, I dare someone to argue with Ollie, myself, and maybe Wheels. We'll see what he picks about the best right back of the tournament. It is Hakimi. He never stops running. He offers the same going forward as he does defensively, and that's rare to find nowadays. I did a diamond. Ollie and I didn't talk about this, but great minds think alike. It's just in that midfield 4 or 3, however you spin it, there are just names you can't leave out. Like, if I were to pick these 4, Casemiro has been a stud and a star for Brazil. Amrabat is definitely going to sign a new deal by the way he's playing, has legs for days, and controls the midfield. Modric, the maestro, has been sensational. And with this diamond, there's just so many things that could happen if the 4 were ever playing together. Griezmann, as Ollie said, doesn't get enough love for the fact that he's just been pulling the strings offensively, defensively, just being in the right positions to go forward. Has he been getting stuck into tackles? No. But when you're smart and you know the right places to be, he's won so many fouls for France, and he's just putting them in a position to break and go forward. And then having Mbappe and Messi up top, do I need to say more? These are the guys who get it done and might not be running and pressing, but you can count on them to cause havoc up front.
Wheels, we know you love a list. We know you love a team, but take these guys to school, will you?
Well, we're all similar. It's kind of interesting. None of us have like a target up top. No Alvarez and no Giroud.
Bellingham and Shaw show. It's okay.
So coming home.
I thought England played very well at this tournament. Martinez for obvious reasons. Hakimi, you're right. I want to give a shout out to Koundé. He's not an attacking right back, but he's been great at this tournament as well. Reds and Royals Rose. Gvardiol is the best center back of this tournament. It's shocking all he had him out of the team. I don't think there was many good left backs at this tournament, to be honest with you. Luke Shaw was as good as they got. Progressive passing, great in possession. Bellingham was like top of the stats for progressive passes, tackles. I had to keep in Casemiro. For me, he was the best Brazilian player. Not his fault they got knocked out by Croatia.
Only 3 United players.
Amrabat for obvious reasons. And the front 3 kind of speaks for themselves. Look, it was a good tournament for Manchester United players, to be honest. I was close to putting Harry Maguire in over Rafa Varane. I also had Romain Saiss as well, who I thought deserves to be in there. And I couldn't find a way to get Tchouameni in the team because he would be kind of the next player in the midfield. But Yeah, Alvarez and Giroud have been good, but just not quite enough to kind of get into this team. I think that we all got the system spot on based upon where the star players were in this tournament, and a lot of them were through central defense and central midfield. I thought it was a good tournament for that. Not a whole lot of width in this tournament, guys. Not very good width. Like the traditional 4-3-3 that we see so much in club football, just there wasn't a lot of star players in those wide areas at this World Cup for whatever reason.
3 diamonds from 3 diamonds.
Diamonds from 3 diamonds.
Yeah,
That's my job. I was going to take us to break that way. Ollie, my goodness.
Shine bright like a diamond.
While this is happening in the background, we will take that break. When we come back, it's prediction time. Golden boot, golden ball, World Cup champion. Who is it going to be? That's next. Good night, Qatar. My favorite kind of segment because they never age like Luka Modric. They always age poorly. It is prediction time. I want a champion, a scoreline, a golden boot, and a golden ball. A minute for each of you, gentlemen. Jordan Wilson, you are on the clock.
Okay, what goes first? Winner?
Yes. Winner and scoreline.
France is going to win 2-1.
2-1.
Golden ball is going to go to the GOAT, Lionel Messi. But what's the other one I got to put?
Golden boot.
Golden boot.
Golden boot is going to go to Kylian Mbappe.
So
and why I
Mbappe
say
to get
this?
the most goals and be a World Cup champion, but Messi still for the golden ball. Jordan's a sentimental sweetheart, isn't he? Ollie, what do you say?
I hate predictions. I hate
Yes, you
predicting
do.
finals because the margins are so fine. I'm going to go with, I think tactically there's some advantages for Argentina, particularly down that right-hand side. I think Di Maria will play. They'll try and overload that area. I'm going to go 2-1 Argentina. Messi cleans up the awards.
Messi clean. Now, is that 2-1 in the 90? Does it need extra
Not
time? Does it need
specified.
penalty? Not
Smart man.
He's playing it safe. Gareth, let's get some bold in here, please. I come to you and I need the bold and the exciting.
I wrote down all my picks, and then I saw today that Drake picked Argentina.
Yes, he did.
I like
First-
Drake. I like Drake. I don't want to believe that there's such a thing as a Drake curse. So
He
I'm going
wields
to
a lot
back
of
my.
power.
I'm going to back my guy Drake. Give me a show. We can talk about what your bet looks like. I think Argentina wins in pens. Emi Martinez is so good. He's a difference maker in stopping penalties. But I think it's going to be 1-1 through 90 minutes. Argentina in this tournament, we're playing by Messi rules. We're playing for a Hollywood ending here. They're just giving Argentina penalties. They've had 6 penalties in 6 games.
Yeah.
So Messi's going to get another penalty. He's going to score it. So he's going to go on and win the golden boot. Golden ball, it's a popularity contest. It doesn't even matter if you go on and win the game. Like Luka Modric won the golden ball last year. Like I think the voting's done before the ball's even kicked in the final. So there's no doubt about that. That's going to go to Lionel Messi as well. I'll add in another one. Emi Martinez, the Golden Glove winner as well. A clean sweep for Argentina. And I can see them winning in pens. It's going to be a nervy extra time. They're not going to want to lose like they did in 2014 in extra time. And by the way, you can get Argentina winning in penalties at plus 906. Your boy wheels it all over.
That's where the prediction's coming from. It doesn't matter what he believes; it's what he wants. It's France also no stranger to the pens. That would be the last time we saw a penalty shootout for a World Cup final was back when Italy did it, and I know Petrill is probably happy about that somewhere. Jordan, if it goes to pens, who do you favor? I mean, based on your team of the tournament, I have an idea.
I have to favor Argentina. It can't go to pens in France's sake.
Me and Drake have picked Argentina. They're in big trouble, man.
It can't go there.
It is the only time we will ever on One Soccer hear me and Drake from Oliver Platt in the same sentence. I hope that changes. I hope that changes, but it probably.
Comparison.
Drake
This has been Good Night Guitar.
doesn't
Thank you,
exist.
Gareth, Ollie, Jordan. I've been Adam. Cheers, everyone.